everyone, this is Christina from Sweet Pea Births. My husband and I teach childbirth classes here in Chandler, Arizona, and I'm here today with my friend Jennie Bever. She is an IBCLC and also a research professor, right, and teaching professor at ASU. So she is going to help us out with one of our Q&A questions for our breastfeeding series this month.
So the question is, how does thyroid function affect breastfeeding? This is a question that's really near and dear to my heart, both as a lactation consultant and as a mom, because I have a thyroid issue as well. So the thyroid gland is located right about here, and it kind of controls how fast or slow your metabolism goes. And because breastfeeding is a really energetically expensive activity, you need good thyroid function in order to breastfeed. And so in moms who are experiencing thyroid problems, and this is actually pretty common, postpartum thyroiditis is actually fairly common, it can actually affect a lot of things. So moms will often feel really tired if they have low thyroid. They might start to notice their hair is falling out more, and other things like that. But one other side effect of having low thyroid is that it can also reduce your milk supply. And so when we have moms come into our office wondering, you know, what's going on, why am I not making the amount of milk I would like to make for my baby, we usually check thyroid as one of the first things. So low thyroid can be caused by many different reasons, but probably the most common is Hashimoto's thyroiditis, and that can cause your body to just not produce enough thyroid hormone. And when that happens, it can inhibit milk supply to some extent. Luckily, that's usually pretty easy to fix as long as we catch it. Moms get supplied with some extra thyroid hormone, and usually their milk supply goes back up. The other type of thyroid disorder that sometimes happens is called hypothyroidism. And hyperthyroidism is when your body is actually producing too much thyroid, and that is actually fairly common after a baby is born as well. And interestingly, this will actually tend to inhibit milk from letting down. And so the mom may have milk, but the milk doesn't come out. And we've learned this from mouse studies. So in moms who have this, if it progresses, it's called Graves' disease. Sometimes they need to be on a special medication to inhibit their thyroid somewhat, and that can help their milk be able to come out to some extent. I'm also very careful as a lactation consultant to check the thyroid on any mom who has a thyroid condition, you know, going into pregnancy, because oftentimes what you need as far as thyroid goes in pregnancy changes a lot once you have your baby. And so we can have a mom who has a low milk supply, who we know has a thyroid condition, and when we check her, we find that she's on too much thyroid medicine and the milk isn't coming out. So that's something that I always make sure to check, no matter how small that thyroid condition was and if she has a family history. If she's struggling with milk supply in any way, that's a really important one to check, and you know, most of the time it's pretty easy to fix.
What would you say to a mom who suspects that she's having one of these? What's the best way for her to address this?
I think she should definitely come in and either see, you know, a lactation consultant who's knowledgeable about thyroid, or go see her doctor. The ranges for thyroid levels are very different for pregnancy and lactation than they are for the general population. So usually what we look at is the TSH, the thyroid stimulating hormone, and that comes from the pituitary, and it stimulates your thyroid to make thyroid hormone, to make thyroxine.
Great.
And if that's too high, that means that your body is working really hard to try to get your thyroid to make hormone. And so in people who are, you know, general population, the range for TSH is, you know, around 0.5 to 4.5, and if you go over that, then they worry. But in pregnant and breastfeeding moms, we don't want them to go over 2.5. And if we see them go over 2.5 and they're having low milk supply, that's a really big red flag, because that can be a problem. Your body needs a lot of energy in order to produce milk, and if you don't have that thyroid function working well, then that might be a problem. And then conversely too, if your TSH is really low, that usually means that your thyroid is making too much thyroid hormone, and so we would want to work on that to tighten that a little bit more. Great.
So just a little adjustment. You said is easy. Somehow you supplement, and then mom usually sees the breastfeeding issue resolved.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's necessarily easy, but it's something we can fix.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
So hopefully, if any of you are struggling with low milk supply, or if you're finding you're making milk and not letting down, you have some ideas from Jennie of something to explore. Maybe get some answers, get some help. Check the link down in the comments. There is the phone number for the Arizona Breastfeeding Center. They are here in Tempe, Arizona. However, like all good birth workers, like I like to say, we always like to help. So don't hesitate to reach out via phone or email if you have any questions, and they will point you in the right direction to somebody in your area if you want help. I want to thank Jennie so much for joining us today. They have a very busy practice here in well, I guess, is it Tempe or Chandler?
We're in Tempe.
Tempe, it is Tempe. Okay. So yeah, they have a very busy, thriving practice here in the Tempe, Arizona area, and so I thank her for taking time out of her day to help us out. And join us next week for another installment of Q&A with SPB, Breastfeeding Edition.